What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for December 12th, 2022. Man, we had the weirdest video content this week. Luminilia's here, and they seem to have learned from some of their lessons from last year, and 3.18 has to be close. And man, this is a huge patch. All that and more on today's Week in Review. As always, if this is your first Week in Review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike. Thank you for a lot of you guys coming here from the YouTube channels and saying hello on Twitch, so feel free to do that if you haven't yet. And yeah, we got a lot to get through, so let's jump in and talk about 3.18. When it comes to Wave 1 PTU for 3.18, there's a lot of talk out there about when it's going to come. It's all speculation for the most part, but the idea here is that if they don't release it this week to a Wave 1 PTU, there's a 0% chance it should go live before the end of the year. So they got to do it now if they're going to do it. With that said, regardless if they do it now, it's going to be an incredibly broken patch. So many of this patch is really kind of foundational features that touch the entire game and at the same time break the entire game. So calm your expectations on the level that this patch is. I made more of a joke in the thumbnail than anything about the progress that's been made and how major the patch is and things like that, right? It is major, but it's major from a foundational feature standpoint and not really the wow, the game is so much better standpoint, right? It gives the ability for the game to be better, but probably not today, right? Let's jump into the Patch Watch update, though, that they shared on 3.18, and it was all about quality of life updates. And the big one that I saw for kind of quality of life in general is that if you go to an ASOP terminal, which is where you spawn your ships, only the ships that you're able to spawn will show up there. That doesn't mean the ones that aren't claimed or something like that. It's based on the size of the ship. So there's certain size pads at certain stations and locations. Only the place where you can spawn certain size ships will show up on the ASOP terminal. So a reclaimer will not show up where you spawn ground vehicles, for example, right? Then for air traffic control and law updates, there's one where it's talking about cleaning up the landing pads. Hopefully that cleans up, like sometimes there's pesky landing gear when ships explode on landing pads. And then there are numerous issues around the complicated law system. The big one that's has been communicated for some time is if you have a tier 1 or tier 2 crime stat, essentially you are a misdemeanor instead of a felony. So you can pay off the fines and not really have to deal with being restricted from where you can land and get shot at by guards and things like that. So very good quality of life update there, but that's really all we have for 3.18 for right now. Hopefully it comes soon. Hopefully we can all check it out and talk about the actual meat of the update, and I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it is this week, but we do have some roadmap updates related to that 3.18 patch. All right, and for that, the entire roadmap roundup was features that are committed for 3.18, and they start out with the Drake Vulture, which is pretty obvious considering hull stripping was going committed at some point in a recent update, so it was pretty clear that the Vulture was going to as well. The cargo refactor also, and yeah, like I still hate that they call it the cargo refactor, as the refactor needs to continue to go on from 3.18 and beyond, but it does lay a massive groundwork for that to happen by simply just physicalizing all the cargo, and the snapping ability is a really big deal as well. Time trial missions, this is what I've really been waiting for to get back into racing. Persistent entity streaming, now this is it. If anything in that letter from the chairman is true, I hope that PES being most of the work towards server meshing is. This, again, is a feature we need to see more from in terms of matchmaking and just generally working very well. But it is a feature that paves the way for the future that Star Citizen is supposed to be. Not what we want, not what we wish it would be, what it's supposed to be. And if we need the game to move forward, this is one of the features that does that. So seeing that go committed is a big deal. Gen 12 renderer as well is a big deal. The changes to that could bring some client performance updates, which is also it's gonna be welcomed by a lot of people. I got a lot of flack when I reacted to Roadmap Roundup on SaltEMike Reacts for having an overall positive outlook on what the features mean. But all of the things that people were saying was, well, this is 6 months late. Yes, they're 6 months late. And I am incredibly frustrated and annoyed that I fell for the letter for the chairman and really believed them this time. But I can simultaneously be super annoyed at Chris Roberts and the letter from the chairman and all of the communication that we've had since then, but still understand how important the features that are coming into 3.18 are. And that's like the disconnect that people seem to have there. So let me know what you think about all that in the comments. Am I just being positive for whatever reasons you guys write in the comments that I'm being positive today, or being negative for whatever reasons I'm being negative for today? It's so funny that reading the comments sometimes, like based on my perception of a certain feature. But yeah, as usual, there's good and bad things in a lot of stuff. There's a lot of bad with this, but there's also some good. So why not point that out too? It's a news update. We're going to share all of it, right? Let's move on to video updates where there's not a whole lot of good to share. And let's start out with what should have been ISC, but was replaced with a Journey to 4.0 content update. And I don't think I could say this with a straight face. I'm already losing it. It was concept sounds for what 4.0 might sound like. What? Excuse me? Yeah, at points this video update was actually cool, sounded pretty cool. At others, it didn't make a lot of sense. There was like insane reverb, which is like sort of what the title of the episode was. So feel free to check it out if you haven't yet. And yeah, there isn't really much to share from that as far as like a weekly update goes, but let you know that it existed, and if you want to go and listen, you can. Star Citizen Live shared a very similar fate to this week's Journey to 4.0. We had a very minor update to the new flight system.
And the other mode, which you swap your ship into, it was called QCM in our presentation recently. We're just gonna call it nav mode because it's more descriptive name for it.
All right, so they changed the name of QCM to nav mode, and that's basically the entire update that we got, because the rest was them just saying all the things that they've said before. They're focused on Squadron 42. It's going to take a very long time for us to get it. There was one other minor update, which I'm not going to clip out here. They basically added boost mode to the nav mode because they think that that will help racing, while there were some other questions around components and things like that will obviously help tune these ships as well. But it's a lot of speculation, a lot of things that are still seemingly in motion, and things that are going to change a lot. So I don't really feel like giving you any concrete updates on this. You should check out the video if you guys want to kind of, take your own opinions on it. But mine are, it's not much of an update. And to that point, the next part of Star Citizen Live was an interview with a board member from Star Citizen and also Chris Roberts' wife, Sandy Roberts. And Sandy had a massive part in the starting out points and even the middle stages of Star Citizen's growth. But as a backer's perspective, or just my perspective, I should say, she seems to have taken a pretty big step back from the project and really only shows up when she wants to promote some of her acting career stuff. And, to each their own. It is what it is. I'm not really trying to knock her for doing that, but there wasn't a lot to share from this update whatsoever in terms of a Star Citizen update perspective. It was really great to go back down memory lane, though. Like Ben Lesnick was mentioned a ton, and there was a lot of the old days stories, right? So if you were following the project for a while, want to take a trip down memory lane, feel free to do so and check out the video, but there wasn't a ton to share in terms of Star Citizen Live updates. So let's jump into the rest of the updates from the week. And with that, we'll start out with the sneak peek as we usually do, and it's a forest, but I believe it would be called more of like a boreal forest, and that doesn't really fit in any of the biomes on Microtech, but it also doesn't seem like it fits in the biomes of anything at Pyro. So where do you guys think this is? This is actually like a pretty interesting kind of conversation starting sneak peek. So leave a comment down below and let me know where you think this is. Then we had Luminilia, and it's the holiday season here on Earth. So in Star Citizen, they do similar things where they do holidays that kind of morphed into Star Citizen holidays, and their holiday is called Luminilia. And basically the gifts they're doing is like an advent calendar for 12 days starting on December 11th, but you can claim them until January 10th. Sunday's gift was some ugly sweaters. This was recorded before the next day's update went out, so let me know in the comments down below what that was. I'm sure it's like a paint skin or some more clothing or something like that. Then as far as referral bonuses goes, it's an Argo MPUV, so for you and the person you're referring gets that. There's also discount starter packages available, which I'll have displayed on screen now. There's 6 different starter packages that are discounted. There's also some missions that you can do, as well as picking up boxes around the game, and those little boxes sell for 500 gold per, and the missions I think are just the normal delivery missions that are just skinned with I guess holiday boxes. And there's some contests, same as last year, a holiday card contest and screenshot contest, I think. So check out Spectrum for the details on that. Then there was the Galaxy Q&A, and they started out with, what does the ship look like and how does it function if there is no module? And what they said is, basically it'll be empty. And everyone was mad at my take on stream about this, because I think it's totally fine to do that. It's not really a big deal. They allowed players to buy just a module by itself and then earn the ship in game when it's available, and vice versa. So I don't see really what's wrong with that. Again, I'm asking you guys to leave lots of comments, but I'm curious what you guys think about these things, because I get a lot of pushback on that one. I guess people didn't feel like it was okay to sell a ship that has no functionality because it doesn't have a module with it, so it should have came with a base module. The other argument on their side was other ships came with base modules. This one didn't. What's the deal with that? But yeah, upgrading this ship and going out there and buying in-game items to make it better are kind of the point. So I don't know. I don't see it. The shield also seems small, and they addressed that with, they're clearly making big changes around flight and ship components, and their response was more of a wait and see what we do with that kind of thing. And the issue here is, like, the ship's between $300 and $500, and you want people to wait and see what you're going to do with something before they invest their money in it. Kind of crazy, but you know, their intentions are obviously to have this ship fit a role that they've communicated to you so far. So hopefully they do that, but we'll have to see. And the last update that I have from the Odyssey Q&A is on the refinery and how it compares to the other refinery ships in the game. And basically, when it comes to the Expanse, it will have less refineries, but they're larger. So you can refine more material, but less variety of, I guess, ways to refine or items to refine. And then as far as the Odyssey goes, the refinery on the Galaxy cannot just refuel itself. That's an Odyssey only thing for now. And yeah, that'll do it for this week. So guys, I really do hope you enjoyed watching the video as much as I enjoyed making it. Let me know. I did a little change to the, I guess, the focus on the camera today. There's been a lot of issues where I've been out of focus each week, trying to work on that. This is autofocus, so let me know if it popped in and out and if it was a little bit distracting. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it very much. Leave a like, comment on all those comments I asked you to comment on, and subscribe for more weeks in review, and I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for watching.